Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of my Buffalo Bills franchise mode series right here on Madden 19. You know the deal. In the last episode, we began yet another season at the helm of the Bills, starting off with a pretty solid 3-1 record outside of a loss last week to the Jets, where we just really didn't even show up. So that was a little bit disappointing. But this episode really will be highlighted by the Week 8 and Week 10 matchups against the New England Patriots, our biggest rivals for the division. Or are they? At 2-3, Jets also at 2-3. Maybe that changing of the guard is finally happening. But needless to say, there is pressure to succeed. We start things off here in Week 6. We have an 8 overall point advantage on the Chicago Bears. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right down to business. We do have a lot to get to, not only in terms of simming the games, but of course with scouting, with resigning some key players moving forward, and just in general, trying to keep this team in as competitive of a spot. Don't show me Stover, please. But trying to keep this team in as competitive of a spot as we possibly can be year in and year out. Of course, you look at our draft success, some of the free agent signings that we've had. Despite last year having no major free agent signings, we still want to make sure that we're in a position to potentially bring someone in if the opportunity arises. It's all about keeping this organized, keeping this franchise running as a tight, organized ship. And we've done well so far, but now we need the team to perform. Let's see if they can. We're ready to begin this game against the Bears. Let's see what we can do. And what we can do is get the opening touchdown, although Chicago is marching down the field here. They'll have a chance at the end of the second. It was a 7-yard touchdown pass to Kawangio. I'll take it. Not too shabby. Let's see. I imagine Chicago will walk away with some points here. And they do. Tie game. We strike very quickly, though. 14-7, now 14 all. 21-14, 21 all. My God. Not much of a defensive display there. They ended up getting a 5-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Howard. Drew Lock is their current quarterback. We respond with 3 rushing attempts from Kareem Hunt, including a 65-yard rushing touchdown. Unfortunately, they bounce back with a pretty long drive, capped off by a 4-yard running touchdown from Frederick McFarland. We respond with a 47-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp. They respond with another decent drive and a 3-yard rushing touchdown for Bo Scarborough. And that is where the half would end. 21 all. Not exactly a dominant defensive performance for either side. Although that said, the third quarter begins and there were quite a few stops. Unfortunately, Chicago takes the lead for the first time in this game, 28-21. That defensive battle finally broke down. It was a 22-yard touchdown pass to Trey Burton after an interception by Adrian Amos. So backs against the wall here to start things off. We have the ball at the 50, 3rd and 10. Can we get anything going? Yes, we can. We can march down the field and tie this game up within 3 minutes. Ended up being a 1-yard rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt. Can the Bears get anything going? No, they cannot. Micah Hyde with the interception. We start off on the 9-yard line. Touchdown Bills, 14 unanswered points. A 1-yard rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt. So a big moment there for Micah Hyde as we put up 14 points in under 5 minutes. Unfortunately, the Bears bounced right back. 65-yard touchdown for Jordan Howard. 35 all with 8.5 to go. This is ridiculous. Let's see what we can do on this drive. We can at least put up a field goal. 38-35. Ended up being a 40-yarder for Jake Elliott. 4:40 to go. Let's see what the Bears can do on this drive. Can we find a way to shut them down? 11-yard reception for Chris Conley. 3:43 remaining, and needless to say, I'm a tad bit nervous. Big 3rd down coming here, though. Big 4th down coming here, and they are forced to punt. Smart move with the timeouts. 3:05 left. We have a chance to wind down the clock and end this game right here and right now. So, of course, we throw it on first down. 2nd and 10. Lewis Bush takes a 10-yard penalty. And that, folks, is how to not wind down the clock. A disastrous, absolutely disastrous possession there, as we are going to be forced to punt. 68. Wow, Rigoberto Sanchez pinned him back to the 5. 1:25 remaining. Can the Bears march downfield to keep this game going? A 3-yard reception isn't going to help. 25 yards for Conley will certainly help. 22 seconds remaining. 6-yard loss on the sack by Fowler Jr. Let's watch this go down. 3rd and 16. 18 seconds remaining. The Bears still with 2 timeouts. Can we shut them down? This has been ridiculous. Lock goes down. The Bears forced to use another timeout. 14 seconds remaining. It's 4th and 25 from their own 18. You'd like to think, but crazier things have happened, that this game could be over. Lock looking. Short throw. Not even close. That is game. That is game. We will survive a shootout here in Buffalo. 38-35 will be the final. Absolutely ridiculous game to start off this episode. That is crazy. Mike Tomlin, maybe you should have taken a different job other than the Chicago job. You allowed 416 yards of offense in this game. Absolutely ridiculous. Is this going to exit anytime soon? It's shown exiting for the past 3 hours. There we go. There we go. End game, please. Thank you very much. It's a victory to kick things off in today's episode again. An absolute shootout. 38-35 final. Ridiculous. Hanson Erickson, 20 of 34, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Rushing-wise, Kareem Hunt did what Kareem Hunt does. Shockingly. 152 yards on 23 rushing attempts, 3 touchdowns. We know receiving-wise, he picked up some yardage too. Drico and Kang did pretty well, averaging 4.2 yards per carry. Receiving-wise, and actually in fairness, only 1 reception for Hunt. I thought he had more. Cooper Kupp, though, whoops. Let's just go back there really quickly. Thank you. Cooper Kupp led the way with a touchdown. Kawangio, only 4 receptions, but a touchdown as well. Blocking-wise, 3 sacks allowed. Not tremendous defensively. Shazier led the way. A couple of sacks in that game. And, of course, that big-time interception from Micah Hyde that really helped turn things around. That 14-point swing at the start of the 4th quarter. A pretty ridiculous comeback and a damn fine way to start things off in this episode, heading into our Week 7 matchup against the Steelers, and then, of course, those 2 games against the Patriots. We play the Jets as well in Week 11. Weekly awards. Kareem Hunt, the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Not all that surprising, of course, just with what he does on a week-to-week basis. In terms of negotiations, Artie Burns wants a higher bonus, and then Grant Stemke wants to sign as well. Artie. 1-4? What do you think? $26.6 million offer? Still wants more. Interesting. Grant Stemke will bring you back, at least until we have a better replacement. What do you think of the initial offer? Also wants a little bit more. So, not surprised that some of these guys are looking for a decent raise. In terms of scouting, we left taking a look at running backs. So, quarterback-wise, actually, no, in fairness, we left taking a look at quarterbacks. That's right, because I wasn't a quarterback scout. So, in terms of anybody being half decent, it's kind of tough. I am going to go ahead and just scout these first-round guys. And again, if anybody falls, we'll take a look. Prince Stevenson might be half decent, but we really can't afford to waste any more points. So we'll keep an eye on the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft. From there, we'll take a look at some running backs. And really, even then, we don't really have to do anything. It's mainly looking to see if someone like Joey McClam, which is a great name, it's mainly looking to see if he falls down the order, right? I mean, we have Kareem Hunt. He's still relatively young. we don't necessarily have to look at any of these other guys. It's mainly the first-round talent just to see if they fall down the board, although Jackson Devan could be worth taking as well. I doubt Ray Nava or Avant are going to be worth picking up. So that's pretty much my game plan when it comes to quarterbacks and running backs as well. Wide receivers, not so much, especially too. That draft class looks insane for receivers. But that's pretty much the game plan, is just keeping an eye out to see if anybody falls down the ratings. Of course, we had with Oliveira. He ended up falling down to the first round. We were able to use him in a pretty damn big-time trade. Not that I even necessarily planned on getting rid of him that quickly. That's just kind of how it happened. Davey Sadler. Let's go ahead and bring you in. Hopefully you can find us some elite talent at wide receiver. So that's pretty much good to go. Duncan Campion. Still a tremendous name. So let's take a look at who we have here. And Jesus, London Charles. This could be a very special draft class for receivers. I think that pretty much goes without saying, as Deion Dawkins is back from injury, which is quite nice. With that, though, we're at a 4-1 record. We're playing the 3-3 Steelers. Let's get down to it. We have a 7 overall point edge as we head down to Pittsburgh. We'll see what we can do here in Week 7, our second game of the episode. Feeling pretty good about our chances. Of course, there was the concern of injuries on the defensive side of things, and obviously there isn't a ton of confidence in our defense after that performance against Chicago, but we'll see what happens here against Pittsburgh and whether or not we're able to make the most of it. Very intrigued to see how this goes, but offensively I'm not that concerned really with the amount of weapons that we have. Anyway, let's see what we can do. Let's get things started here. Andrew Luck, their quarterback at this point in time, by the way. First quarter, how will it go down? And can anybody get on the board? The answer is yes. A late touchdown for us to end the first quarter. Who was it? Surprise, surprise, Kareem Hunt. 5-yard rushing touchdown. What an absolute monster. Let's head to halftime. Pittsburgh is unable to get on the board, shockingly. They were close a couple of times. There we go. They finally get on the board, but it's 21-3 at halftime. A couple of late drives that ended just shy. An interception by Mike Hilton on the 8 leads to really not much, unfortunately. We were forced to punt. But then the next drive, an interception for Jordan Poyer and an immediate 4-yard QB sneak for Hanson Erickson. He gets the touchdown. So a couple of turnovers for Luck. They do get a 22-yard field goal, but we bounce back with a quick drive and an 11-yard touchdown pass for Kouangio, who continues to pretty much end up with a touchdown reception in every single game in which he plays. He's an absolute beast. Through the third quarter we go. We make it 28-3 early on. Make it 31-3 as we head to the fourth quarter. Said I wasn't all that confident. I'm feeling a little bit better now. 39-yard rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt. We respond on the next drive, hitting a 30-yard field goal with Jake Elliott. Pretty ridiculous performance thus far. As a new drive begins, we march all the way down, 38-3. Cap it off with a 7-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp. Pretty much took up the entirety of the quarter as well, which is pretty damn hilarious. Pittsburgh forced to punt on a 4th down situation. Of course, I thought they just would have gone for it. They didn't. They pretty much admit defeat, as they should have. 38-3 is your final. From a shootout against the Bears to a walk in the park down in Pittsburgh. Unbelievable stuff to begin this episode here. Hanson Erickson, 25 of 32, 272 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Kareem Hunt, over 100 yards rushing again, 2 touchdowns. Erickson with the rushing touchdown as well. Jericho and Kang had quite a few carries in this game as well. Devontae Adams, over 100 yards receiving. Touchdown receptions for Kouangio and Cooper Kupp. Blocking-wise, only 1 sack allowed, and technically it was by Devontae Adams. Defensively, Gardner Johnson leads the way in terms of tackles. Never really got to the quarterback much. but 3 interceptions. Jimmy Smith, Mike Hilton, and Jordan Poyer. Ridiculous. And the pickup there of Jimmy Smith, of course, dealing with that injury, getting him onto this team for the sake of depth. Yeah, already paying dividends here in this episode as he ends up getting an interception, 1 of 3, as Lelion Kuangio. Yeah, Leyland. Not Lelion. Let's go with Leyland Kuangio. Regardless, you know the name. You know he's a beast. Let's go ahead and make him a little bit better. He's going up to an 86 here, potentially. And again, we definitely just have to make him better as a deep route option moving forward. So let's improve him as a deep threat and see where the... Oh, boy, that's rough. +4. Not bad, though. Not bad. I'll take it again. He's just 22 years old with superstar development. This episode has started off as good as it really possibly could have with 2 wins, and now we find ourselves in a big time matchup. Patriots are 2-4. We stand alone at the top of the division with a 5-1 record. Over the next 2 weeks, we could really solidify ourselves at the top of the division as Chauncey Gardner-Johnson improved as well. A dominant run stopper. Power moves, finesse moves, block shedding, awareness, zone coverage, man coverage. Tough to say where exactly we'd want to make him better. I mean, again, just as a rusher in general would help. That would definitely help. Again, power moves, finesse moves, way the hell down there. Block shedding's not too bad, though. Funny enough. Could make him better as a coverage option. And I'm very tempted to do so. You know, I think I will. We're going to make him better as a pass coverage linebacker. He's up to an 88, which is ridiculous. And that's not bad. +1 awareness, +1 pursuit. I'll take that. He's still 25 as well. He's got a future ahead of him as we need to negotiate. Let's see if we can get this deal done with Artie Burns as he continues to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. $27 million, Artie. What do you think? Wow. That's shocking. I was going to go higher than that, but shit. All right. Well, we'll see what the future brings for one Artie Burns. That would be a pretty damn big loss. If I'm to be honest, that's not how I thought these negotiations were going to go, as we haven't locked down a deal with Stemke either. Artie Burns, buddy, pal of mine, what's gone wrong here? Obviously, the franchise tag would be a possibility, but I'm just not sure how I feel about that. So again, Tre'Davious White, only out for 2 more weeks, so we're looking okay. We are looking okay. Although, I can't help but think, now I really like Artie Burns on this team, right? But moving him now rather than franchise tagging him later might not be the worst way to go. That's the problem, though. He's so well-rounded. The only thing he's necessarily bad at is tackling. That's so disappointing that he's looking for that much more money. I mean, I understand it, but I do wonder if there is a trade that could be made using draft picks if necessary. I'd prefer to trade him to the NFC. Is there a team where it makes sense to try and get a deal done? Ronald Darby's there, who's a beast. He'd be way too expensive. And then Desmond Trufant. There has to be somebody, you would think, that would make sense for us to acquire right now, rather than having to even deal with the Artie Burns situation. What about Alexander? What's your development pattern? Normal. No, thank you. Panthers have Rodriguez Van Noy, who's a star at 24. Also extremely well-rounded. I gotta be honest, the Panthers right now, I might see if I can work out anything with them. That would be promising. Marcus Peters is there. Let's take a look at like Washington. Trevor Williams at 28. Saints have Marshawn Lattimore, which that's never going to happen. I mean, I might as well Might as well aim high, but that's never going to happen. All right, let's just see. It's like, how far off is that? The answer is quite. The answer is quite. I'm not against trying something this over the top and ridiculous. Of course, we don't have a first-round pick this year. Jesus, that went up by a lot more than I thought it was going to. How close is this going to be? Like, if we can't pull off the deal for Lattimore, I'm definitely going to be able to get that other dude from Carolina. Holy hell. So this might actually be possible. As dumb as this might be possible. They need offensive line help. Funny enough, I have somebody that they could use. That being Conley, who does have decent development. They don't have any interest in him, though. So that doesn't help. I thought it might. Although getting rid of Deion Dawkins and saving some money might not be the worst way to go. How much interest do you have in Deion Dawkins? You really don't. I'm actually surprised, because they need help at left tackle, and we're offering them a half-decent left tackle in terms of a depth option, but there just doesn't seem to be any interest. That's unfortunate. Like I said, they need help at left tackle, center, and guards. That's kind of weird. Do you have any interest in Dalton Tate? Just randomly? No? I mean, again, this might be a little bit too far out of the realm of possibility, but it is worth exploring. Yeah, so guess that's just not going to happen. Unless, I mean, at least in a way to kind of alleviate that whole situation. Now, my thought here, do you have any interest in Morris Pittman? You do. Not that I want to get rid of Pittman, who we just drafted. He is a rookie. He was one of the guys that was looking quite promising, but Eric Ebron's going nowhere. I might be able to cheese this to get Marshawn Lattimore. And that's a move that would piss some people off, I'm sure. But again, my original plan was to keep Artie Burns. He's the one who's decided out of nowhere that he just wants to go and get paid. Which, when you look at what Lattimore's making right now, it's like, you're already making more than him. What the hell are you doing? Burns, Pittman in a fourth. How close is that? Jesus. Like, it's not even that high of a price to pay. We just sign a random tight end and we'll be fine. Like, I mean, if I can get this to go through, I might as well, right? Will that go through? How close is it? It might take a second. It might not go through at all. It's at least worth exploring, though. I think I would rather move Artie Burns than have him walk away for nothing. This is the best we can offer. Wow. All right. So Lattimore is out of reach. Unfortunately, it's just that next level with him. But that's not to say that Rodriguez Van Noy is out of the question, who is just basically a younger version of who we already have. And in general, is a little bit more well-rounded. If I could get Van Noy from the Panthers, that would be huge. Now, they have no interest in Artie Burns, so that's not exactly going to help. But if I tack on Pittman, who's a little bit behind Rico Neal at this point, they have no interest in him either. Okay, well, there goes that idea. I think for now we're just stuck with Artie Burns. There's a chance we're going to lose him for nothing later on this season. If, you know what, again, if I can't trade for someone of that type of value, might as well just keep him. And you know what? Hopefully, if we do lose him for nothing, it means, hey, at the very least, we had success, so it's not that big of a deal to end up losing him. Still kind of sucks, though. Still kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? As far as options, again, I'd prefer to only trade him to the NFC so I don't have to deal with him because he is a very strong player. That's not to say that other teams would retain his services anyway, but it's pretty frustrating. It's pretty frustrating. Again, we could look to bring him back, but there really wasn't anybody else. It was just that Lattimore deal. And I gotta be honest, you know what? There is one thing I didn't do with the Saints. There is one thing I didn't try. Last-ditch effort to try and get something for Artie Burns. What if we used Rico Neal instead? He does have normal development, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. Again, he was a kind of low-end wide receiver that we knew we could convert to a tight end. How close would we be? There's an outside chance that he has that slightly higher extra value. Let's find out here. I'm thinking it's going to be denied. This wasn't going to go through, is it? Huh. Well then. As it turns out, 1 overall point is enough to bridge the gap. I don't know how to feel about that. But what's done is done. If you want arguably my cheapest move throughout the course of this series, there it is. It's not as if it's a talent to rob the AI in this series, but again, we didn't exactly set ground rules. It was just, for the love of God, end the suffering in Buffalo. We have dealt Artie Burns, who is probably going to leave, Rico Neal, and a second-round pick to the Saints for Marshawn Lattimore. Because why not? And now really all we have to do is go and sign any tight end to fill out the roster. It doesn't even really matter. Now, I believe I turned practice squad stealing off. I might have. If not, Ben Giles might as well be signed for the rest of the year. Yeah, okay, so I did turn that off, so teams could essentially have kind of like a depth option. So Walter Brummel will be brought in for the rest of the year. And as it is, pretty much every year, we sign wide receiver, or draft wide receivers and turn them into tight ends. So that's that. Quick and easy. Rico Neal is gone. Unfortunately, I do wonder if that's going to have any negative effect in terms of our secondary. But you look now, if our secondary is 100% healthy, Lattimore and Tre'Davious White, Jimmy Smith, and Mike Hilton. Holy shit. That is just ridiculous. We bring in Marshawn Lattimore. Oh my God. And the fact that he was technically on a cheaper contract than who we dealt for him is just ridiculous. I mean, there's no denying, we cheesed the AI there and the way this system works. Morris Pittman's going to have a little bit more responsibility moving forward, but you look now. So our defense this week is Lattimore, Smith, Hilton, and Cordell Turner. And, of course, Tre'Davious White will be back very soon. Certainly didn't expect or plan on doing that. But when one door closes and one player says he wants to leave, other possibilities arrive. That brings us to our Sunday primetime matchup against the Patriots. We have a 10 overall point advantage and Marshawn Lattimore in at corner. What the hell have I done? I don't know how I feel about that. Because that could really come back to haunt us if you think about it. I mean, sure, it makes our team that much better, and that's certainly kind of a deadline buy where, yeah, we're going for it. That could limit our ability to trade up to a half-decent first-round pick. So I can't help but think of it in that way. Wow. Well, that deal's done. And again, that might not have everybody overjoyed, but what's done is done. The team is set. We're good to go. Let's play this game against the Pats. Let's go through the first quarter and see what we can do as we start off with a very quick 14-0 lead. There was definitely a turnover in the mix there. It ended up being an 11-yard touchdown pass to Kareem Hunt, an interception by Marshawn Lattimore, and that turns into a 1-yard rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt. Lattimore pays immediate dividends, and again, we didn't exactly have the ground rules set of, hey, don't cheese the AI. So, it's about trying to end the misery here in Buffalo, as we ended up getting a field goal, and a field goal only, a 52-yarder for Jake Elliott. It's 17-0 at the half. Don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and try to justify that decision. What's done is done. It's 24-0, now 24-3 at the beginning of the fourth quarter as We struggled a little bit against the Bills, a little bit against the Bears, but we have certainly found our form in this episode. Another rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt, as unless this game ends up being close, we're good to just go to the end. Touchdown Patriots, 24-10, and nothing doing from there. 24-10 is your final. We move to 3-0 in this episode, despite a big trade, Tyrod Taylor as Patriots quarterback. Whew, no thank you. Erickson, 12 of 21, 130 yards and a touchdown. Not a big day for him. Pretty big day for Kareem Hunt, though. Again, over 100 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. Receiving-wise, again, not a big day at all. Like, we just really didn't do much. It's just when we scored, we scored. The receiving touchdown there for Kareem Hunt. We allowed quite a few sacks in this game. That's unfortunate. Defensively, Shazier and Jimmy Smith led the way. Didn't really get to the quarterback much. Fowler Jr. with a sack and a half. Interceptions-wise, Marshawn Lattimore the only one. And Elliott with the field goal. 24-10. It's kind of surprising that that scoreline was what it was. Just stats-wise, it wasn't all that impressive for us. But we get the job done. 3-0 in this episode. Wins over the Bears, Steelers, and the Patriots. There is an injury to worry about, though. And it's Mike Hilton. So we'll be getting Tre'Davious White back, but now Mike Hilton goes down to injury. So that'll be something worth keeping an eye on, as we are up to 6-1 this season. As Tre'Davious White could be back, we're not going to risk it. We'll just play Jimmy Smith. That's not a problem. In terms of negotiations, who are we dealing with? Stemke and Joe Jackson, Julius Bradford as well. All right, so Stemke, buddy. Actually, wait, what did you want? Higher salary. All right, let's go to 4. There we go. Is that enough? Nearly a $23 million offer. Bam. All right, we'll at least have him, be able to trade him if necessary. Joe Jackson, how much are you looking for? Hopefully that base offer's enough, buddy. Perfect. Joe Jackson's back. And Julius Bradford. What do you think? That's not too bad for a depth option. Is he willing to come back for that price? He is. Okay, cool. So it looks like for the majority of the team, we're going to be able to keep everybody together, which is nice. It might limit what we can do free agency-wise, but I'm not too concerned when our team is already as well-rounded as we currently are. As we will continue to scout out wide receivers. Of course, it's looking like a pretty damn good class, but as I say that, wow, we really start to slip up in terms of quality. That's surprising. That really took a turn for the worse. Like, really took a turn for the worse. Only a few more left. We'll finish up the scouting of wide receivers in the next week. For now, we're good to go. 6-1 record, playing the 5-2 Oakland Raiders. Again, a 10 overall point advantage. Will we break a 90 when this team is fully healthy? I suppose that's the question. And whether or not it was the right choice to stock up defensively, when, of course, that does slightly affect the depth that we have at tight end, which, in fairness, I mean, with the receiving core that we have, I mean, look at that. Devontae Adams only has 1 touchdown. And when you look at Kawangio being on this team, one has to wonder if someone like an Adams is worth having long term. We looked at what he was doing last season, of course, not exactly setting the world on fire. And this year it's been a similar story. There's a decent chance that he could be moved in the offseason. This team could find success this year, but that's not to say that everyone's spot is set in stone, even if you're a very highly rated receiver, as we do get the opening points and the only points of the first quarter, 3-0. Let's move on towards halftime. Oakland with the first touchdown, 7-3. Make it 7-6 with a follow-up field goal, and that is the score heading into halftime. So a touchdown for Oakland, 2 field goals is all we could muster in the opening half an hour of play. Let's sim through the third. Who will take control of this game? We do get our first touchdown, 14-7. Oakland answers back with a field goal, 14-10. So very much a defensive battle at this point. It was a 3-yard touchdown to Devontae Adams every time I call him out for not exactly putting up points. he does well to get back into it, as it's 14-13 Oakland with another field goal, a 35-yarder for Graham Gano. Let's see what we can do on this drive as we are forced to punt. Sanchez pins them back to the 1. So hopefully that proves to be a quick possession for the Raiders, and it's not. They march all the way down, 99 yards. It was a 65-yard touchdown pass to Paris Campbell. And we find ourselves in trouble, down 19-14, as we are forced to punt quickly. And just like that, we're in a little bit of trouble. Our defense really let us down on that drive. Oakland is forced to punt, though. 5:10 remaining. Let's see what the team can do, if anything. A little bit concerned here. Needless to say, we need to deliver, as Mario Edwards ends up taking a 5-yard penalty. Big third down here for us. 13 yards for Davante Adams. Well done. Although Reggie Ragland with a sack on first down. Anthony Brown with a penalty. We need to move the chains here. There we go. 14 yards for Cooper Kupp. 3 minutes remaining. Another penalty. This one on Bradley Chubb. 1st and 5. 23 yards. Davante Adams stepping up big time. Touchdown. There we go. A couple of quick plays. Quite a few penalties. We do fail on the 2-point conversion, unfortunately. Cooper Kupp with that massive 31-yard reception for the touchdown. Pressure is on Oakland. It's a 1-point game with 2:19 remaining. 3rd and 8 here. Is it going to be a 4th down? It is 4th and 8. They get a 20-yard reception for Paris Campbell. Clock's ticking. 9 yards for Chris Remmers. 2nd and 1. 9 yards for Remmers again. They're in field goal range. I think we be screwed unless there is a turnover here. Our defense let us down the stretch. Oakland able to march down the field when they've needed to. Carr drops back. Throw over the middle. I thought Shazier had it. I thought Ryan Shazier had it. Oh my goodness. That would have sealed this game. 34 seconds left. Doubt they throw it here on 3rd and 4. A loss of yardage would be great. No, they are throwing. Carr out wide. Campbell will not lose yardage. The clock is ticking, though. And from the 26, they'll set up. That, I don't even know if it was just swatted or an outright dropped ball, but not getting the interception there. That's going to cost us. A fumble there would have been nice. Great job by Jimmy Smith shutting him down, though. Here we go. Letting the clock run. Are we going to ice him? 2 seconds. The kick is up. That's good. Kick is good. Oakland wins it on a last-minute field goal, handing us our 2nd loss of the season, 22-20. Our defense just could not bail us out when we needed them to. Again, you look at that one punt, Rigoberto Sanchez pinning them back to the 1, and they march down in quick order. Very disappointing. Hanson Erickson had a pretty solid game, though. 20 of 37, 240 yards with 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, not over 100 yards, and no rushing touchdowns for the first time in a long time. Receiving-wise, I mean, Kupp and Adams had pretty strong games. Only allowed 2 sacks, 1 by an offensive lineman. Shazier did well. Lattimore did well. We put a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. Had an interception, Marshawn Lattimore again. But we just weren't able to get the job done. Like I said, our defense absolutely let us down. 400 yards passing for Derek Carr. That is incredibly disappointing. So, I'd say everyone else did their jobs. I mean, the offense, you might have wanted a little bit more out of it. It's a disappointing way to drop a game heading into Week 10 against New England. Still, with a 6-2 record, the Patriots at 2-6. I mean, we have a decent lead here. 2 games on the Dolphins. Things are looking okay. Who the hell possibly got a weekly, Lattimore. 9 tackles and a pick. Not bad, I guess, for a brutally abysmal defensive performance. If there was one bright spot, it was definitely him. But that was a frustrating loss, though, man. We should have been able to do better. We should have been able... Whoops, didn't mean to do that. A little bit of lag there jumping around. That's always great. Let's go ahead and focus on you. And, yeah, well, All right, tight end wise, we'll definitely take a look at a couple of these guys as well. That's such a frustrating loss, though. Especially, too, like, of course, Sanchez pins them back to the 1, and they march down the field to score. Of course they do. Of course they do. Is there a tight end specific scout? The answer is no, unfortunately. Is there an O-line scout? The answer is also no. That is a problem. That is a massive, massive problem in terms of who we're actually going to be able to afford to scout here. So you look, I mean, the offensive line is definitely going to be a big focus. We haven't scouted anybody out on the defensive line. Might not be the best draft for that. Linebackers as well haven't been done. So we're going to have to be very, very selective. Very selective. I think for the moment, we'll just go ahead and in terms of... I don't even know how the hell we want to do this. Casey Anobi, not looking that great. I do just want to look through the second round for tight ends. Yeah, that was a waste of points. Yikes. We have had no luck in terms of scouting lately. Now, the good news is, heading into this next matchup, the second matchup against the Patriots, that we do have Tre'Davious White back, which is a big-time boost for us. Lattimore and Tre'Davious White as the 1-2 punch. Jimmy Smith as the third option, which is just insane. A 95 rated defense. Ridiculous. Whether or not we're able to make the most of it, though, is the question. We'll get to this game in a moment. What I do want to look at, and actually we do need to go back to staff. McDermott, are you any closer? You are. You are. So in terms of the training boost, I think I am going to save up for the quarterback boost. Wide receiver would be nice. Tight end would be nice as well. But yeah, I wanted to see if we were that much closer to the quarterback boost to try and get Hanson Erickson up there. For now, though, we're set. Unless a couple of people have a big week. So let's get to it. Down in New England, 6-2 against 2-6. A 9 overall point advantage. So they went up a point somehow. Maybe someone improved or they had someone return from injury. But after a disappointing loss in the prior week to Oakland, let's see what we can do here against New England. It's been a very good episode for us in terms of results. Outside of that one loss, it's been interesting in that we make a big-time move that wasn't all that expensive. That, again, some people might find a tad bit controversial. Despite our roster being as strong as it is, though, of course, we are still looking and saying, okay, well, maybe that needs to be addressed. And again, I still can't help but think, if we're paying Devontae Adams this much, I need more than 2 touchdowns as we're beyond the midway point of the season. We'll see what happens here. Can we bounce back from last week's disappointment as the Patriots score quickly? And so do we. 10-7 is the score at the end of the opening 15 minutes. It was a 45-yard touchdown pass to Max Sutherland. We respond with a 59-yard rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt. We're able to shut them down, and then a 33-yard field goal for Jake Elliott sets the score to what it is. Again, 10-7 at the end of the first quarter. Let's go through the second. 17-7. Not too shabby, and that score will hold up. As we get to halftime, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson recovers a fumble. That leads to a 5-yard rushing touchdown for Jericho and Kang as we begin the sim on the third quarter. Make it 20-7. And that is still your score. Things are looking good here against the big-time division rival. 23-7. A 50-yard field goal for Elliott. 12 minutes remaining. Patriots are able to march down the field, but only walk away with a field goal, 23-10, with 9:07 remaining. As we march down the field, 31-10, a 2-yard rushing touchdown for Kareem Hunt, and this game is over. So at the very least, we do very well against division rivals as we take both games against New England. A much better performance this week. As you look at Hanson Erickson, in fairness, didn't have his best game. 13-22, 159 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Rushing-wise, though, Kareem Hunt dominated. 2 touchdowns for him. A rushing touchdown as well for Jericho and Kang. He had a phenomenal game. Receiving-wise, Cooper Kupp led the way. Not a great game for Erickson, obviously. Blocking-wise, Brenton Weeks had a little bit of a rough game, but overall we did okay. Shazier and Lattimore leading the way in terms of tackles. Fowler Jr., the only sack of the game, no picks, and Jake Elliott was 3 for 3. 31-10, your final. We move to 7-2 on the season in control of the division. I think we can say that. That might not be all that controversial, perhaps. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Let's see who we have to negotiate with here. It's going to be Dieter and Von Key. Dieter, are you willing to accept that deal outright, I hope? Apparently not. And Von Key, still normal development. He's not a bad kick returner, but he's looking for way too much. Like, there's no way. So, yeah, here, let's withdraw offer. Is that still broken? Hey, it doesn't crash anymore. Cool. I'm glad they fixed that. They probably fixed it a while ago. I just haven't tested it in a long time, but it's nice to see that doesn't outright crash franchise mode and bring you back to the main menu. Good to know. So tight end wise, I mean, if Anunoby falls, then we'll look, but yeah, it's not looking too good. So in terms of offensive line talent, we'll mainly rely, and I think just in general, for who's left, we're mainly going to rely on who's projected to go early on. So it's like Vaughn Hamilton is clearly the only guy who's like truly worth taking early on. This could be an interesting setup here draft-wise. Again, I'd like to get a look at the linebackers. I think there was a linebacker-specific scout. I think. If not, we're just going to stick with who we have already on the defensive line and figure it out from there. So let's see, available stuff. Was there a linebacker scout? There isn't. This is brutal. This is the worst I've ever had it in franchise mode in terms of available scouts. So we'll see what we're able to do over the next few weeks. I mean, in terms of the offensive line, just defensively in general, I think what we'll do, like I said, is just start scouting out people, go first round, second round talents over the next few weeks, and see what players are worth picking up. Although Hosey Blackshear is arguably the best name I've seen out of the draft thus far. We are going to end things here. I would have simmed that extra Jets game, but it took a little bit too much time in terms of setting up the roster. In the next episode, we finish up the regular season. Again, losses this season to the Jets and the Raiders. Kind of upsetting that the Jets are pretty bad, but we have a rematch against the Jets. We'll be playing the Lions, the Bengals, the Packers, Browns, Vikings, and Dolphins. I guess I'm committing to simming 7 games next episode. We'll see. At least there's going to be no threat of trades, so we might have been able to get it done regardless. We'll see what happens. Hopefully there's no controversy surrounding any of it, but we'll see how that goes. No, I did not want to force wins. Thank you very much. So this episode will be remembered for the fact that we have definitely started to separate ourselves from the rest of the pack. We are tied for the 3rd best record in the league at 7-2. You have the Chiefs and Rams at 8-1. But this episode will definitely be remembered for the Marshawn Lattimore deal. Let me know what you think. Is that a bit too much? Is that overkill? Where do you rate us right now in terms of our chances as well? Heading in to the postseason, you would hope. You never know. A miraculous collapse. It's not exactly out of the question. For now, we are done here. Thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate the support as always. You know the deal. Support the video, support the channel. Check out everything in the description. Click that stupid bell. And until next time, have a good one. And I'll see you later.